Shai, what'd you feel about that third quarter and the way that you all came out? Of course, defensively still with that same edge, but offensively able to find your spots, you and Dub.
Yeah, we haven't had the greatest of third quarters this playoff run so far. We want to make that emphasis, like come out of halftime with a punch, with a little jolt, with some energy, and not ease into it. And we'd be better off towards the end of the game. We just made that emphasis, and we didn't panic. Obviously, with the struggles in the first half, we missed a bunch of layups as a group. We missed free throws, like the easy ones, and we knew that we stuck with it. They would eventually fall, and they did.
Shai, you've played a handful of series now as a first option. What have you sort of learned about how to process a game from quarter to quarter, how you value each quarter up until maybe the point it's time for you to close a game?
Yeah, it's always a chess match out there. Like, you go out there, you have a base coverage, you have something that you want to start with, then you see how the game goes, and then you just read and react and adjust from there. They make a move, you make a move. Like it's back and forth, and it's going to be like that throughout the series. They're a really good team. They'll make adjustments. They'll get better for sure. We have to continue to get better as well.
As far as the back and forth, it seemed like early you were trying to set that line of like what sort of physicality could go, what couldn't, and the shots you would take with that. What sort of changed from half to half as far as the calls you felt like you got and what you wanted to shoot?
I don't know. I'm not too sure what you mean by that. I was just out there being aggressive, trying to get to my spots. Obviously, it wasn't falling like it usually does and like I would like it to. But it's part of the game. Nothing really changed in my mindset. I just try to continue to be aggressive, continue to trust my work, and it worked out for me in the second half.
Yeah, Shai, Mark was just in here talking about how a guy like Kenrich, who didn't play in last series, coming in, breathes life into the team. And not just him, Isaiah Joe. First off, do you agree with that assessment? And then what does that do for you guys on a night like where your shots aren't falling?
Yeah, absolutely. Every series is different, and every game in every series is different. Different matchups. You need different things for different opponents. So, like, our readiness as a group has been special, and we're going to need it the further we go. But those two guys were nothing short of who they've been all year. Like, guys who play one night, not play the next night, play 30 minutes a night after that. Like, they are always ready. They know what they bring to the team, and they go out there and do it at a high level. And then that's why they were ready for their moment tonight. But, yeah, we don't win this game without those two guys, and hats off to those two guys. And those two guys are who they've been all year, and that's tough to do through the ups and downs and the emotions of, like, playing and not playing. So, yeah, hats off to them, too, for sure.
Yeah, Shai, Mark was talking about how he thought it took you guys a little time to recalibrate with the different style of opponent. Did you feel that at all during the game, that you have to remind yourself, oh, this isn't Denver anymore?
It felt different from jump. They're more like pressure-oriented. It feels like a little more physical. But at the end of the night, it's basketball. They throw you a problem and you have to solve it, whatever it looks like, and that's what it is every night. And that's what it was tonight. They had different coverages, different personnel out there, and we have to attack it and work together as a unit to solve the problems out there. And we did that tonight, especially in the second half.
Andrew Schlecht with The Athletic. Shai's kind of a follow-up to that question. Specifically, what did it feel like going from playing 7 games of a lot of zone defense, to playing against man defense in this game?
Yeah, usually in the NBA you see man, and we're comfortable playing man, and the zone was a wrinkle, but it ultimately made us better for sure, and we can feel that. By the end of the series, we were attacking it way better. We knew what we were getting to. And the possession that they threw zone out there, we got a dunk like right away. Like, you could just feel us getting better at it, and that's what it's all about. That's what the first game of the season is about. That's what the first game of the playoffs is about. That's what the last game of the playoffs is about. Like, just continuing to get better through the experiences, and you'll look up and be where you want to be. And that's all we can control. Like, can't control what they throw at us. We can just control how we attack it and how we approach it. And that's what we did last series. And this series will look different, and we'll do the same thing.
Shai, you mentioned that this team didn't panic. You've been a leader of this team for a while now, but how would you describe what that process has been like of leading by example?
Yeah, it's just true to my personality. Not always the loudest guy in the room or say too much, but my energy and effort and what I put on the floor speaks louder than anything. And that's just how I try to not only go about the game, but go about life. Like, actions always mean louder than words, to me especially, so that's just how I go about it.
Shai, the defense kept you guys in the game
Correct.
early on before your offense could really find a hold. With the way you guys were forcing turnovers, do you think there's some correlation between them launching as many threes because maybe they didn't feel like they could bring it into the teeth of the defense, and is that kind of the strategy you guys had, was forcing them to kind of do things out of character?
Yeah, I have no clue what they were thinking. I don't know how to answer that one. We try to play to our identity on both ends of the floor, and then just read and react from there. I don't know. I can't answer that one for you. But yeah, we try to play to our identity defensively, and we did a good job of that. And the defense definitely gave us life early in the game and kept us in it for sure.
Shai, Game 7, Kaysen sets a career high in the playoffs for assists. Tonight he's got 7, a new career high in assists off the bench. What are you seeing from him as a playmaker for you guys, and being able to facilitate for others?
Yeah, Kaysen played point guard in high school and college. You guys, you might forget that, just his role in the NBA. But he's a really good basketball player. He knows how to play, he knows how to read the game. And we're seeing him grow as the games go on, and that'll continue for his whole career. He's a guy that soaks things up quickly, has a great feel out there on both ends of the floor, and the sky's the limit for Kaysen. I've said that before. He's a really good player.
Yeah, you guys didn't play the two bigs together as much as you usually do. Went small a fair amount and still held them to 20 points in the paint. How were you able to keep them from doing any kind of real damage in the paint?
Yeah, Chet Holmgren, first and foremost. Really good rim protector. Hardenstein as well. But something that coach has done all year is just mix up lineups throughout the season, and I think it has us ready and prepared for moments like tonight, where the matchups are different than they were the past 7 games, and we're gonna need a different lineup to adjust. And for us, it was seamless because we've done it all year, and that's something that he preaches. He doesn't want us to get too set in stone in our lineup because of nights like tonight and matchups like we've seen recently, and I think that's just part of our DNA now.
Yeah, Shai. Anthony Edwards shot, I think, 5 of 12 through 3 quarters. He only shot 13 times tonight, 0-1 in the fourth quarter, did not score. From your perspective, was it just him just not being as aggressive in the fourth, or was it something that you guys were intentionally doing to stop him?
I don't know. I'm not too sure. Good player, though. He'll play better than he played tonight. It's a long series. We just got to be ready for whatever.
Shai, you guys took 21 threes tonight. That's the fewest you've taken all season by 6. What are some of the things that led to that?
Just us playing basketball. I don't think we ever focus on what type of shots. As long as they're good ones, we try to let them rip. And I guess the threes, that we had less good threes tonight. But I don't know how to answer the question. We just go out there and play to our strengths, and whatever the night looks like, it looks like.
How big did you think Chet was to open that fourth quarter? And then what is kind of your bigger picture view on his season and how he's kind of had to, I guess, reintegrate back to a moving ship?
Yeah. Chet was great. When he's his best version of himself, we're the best version of ourselves as a unit. It's no surprise. He affects the game at such a high level. From the moment he was on this basketball team, our win column went up, and it's no surprise. He affects the game every night, every possession at an extremely high level. And I think it's gone under the radar a little bit how hard it is to be a guy and then sit out for a couple months and have to integrate yourself into a team has the best record in the NBA and not step on nobody's toes, but also still be yourself. That's a super hard position to be in, and the way he's handled that has been special. And I don't know if he gets enough credit for that. He's a special person and a special talent, and he's the reason why we are what we are today.
Bear with me, my teeth are chattering. I'm freezing. Dub, got questions.
Hey, J-Dub. Last series, I asked you guys about Ken Rich, but as a teammate, we're seeing the work ethic that you guys mentioned show up here tonight. From a teammate perspective, what does that do for you all?
There's a lot that he does behind the scenes. He's part of like that high intensity group that we have. I don't even think they like really ask him to be in it. Just being one of the older guys, and he still is like willing to lead by example and play in it and compete in it. Just a lot of work like behind the scenes. Like I've always seen him like even from like my first years, like being there, getting extra shots, like working on his free throws, being ready just to kind of come in like games like this. Like you never know when Mark's gonna like sub you, and he's just a really good leader in that regard. He's been big for my development too, just being a pro. So he's always staying ready, and he's just a big part of our team.
Jalen, all season you guys have really prioritized protecting the paint and sort of living with volatility of opposing three-point shooting. And you've had some games where teams have gotten hot in the first half and then fallen off in the second half. During this game, does any of that kind of go through your mind of like, let's just keep doubling down as you hold them to 20 points in the paint?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's more so like I guess like a scheme to like keep people out of the paint and stuff like that. Like obviously for everybody, you get a lot of stuff going to the basket, but a lot of it is just like riding the highs and lows of the game. Especially now, the stakes are higher, so a 6-0 run is going to feel like a 12-0 run, and vice versa for everybody. So we just kind of try and stay in the same mindset of doing what got us here and kind of buckling down on some of like our core fundamentals, and then wherever the game takes us, it takes us.
And then I just want to ask you about Kaysen. Also, he's obviously doing a great job defensively, but he has 7 assists tonight. How are you feeling, his playmaking impact, especially when you and Shai are getting so much attention? He's playing off that.
Yeah, he's growing up. Obviously, he played the one in college, so we all kind of had to like change how we play when we got here. But yeah, he's just seizing the moment. We trust him to make plays, and he was really good tonight.
You kind of hit on just a little bit there. It's obvious that your opposition knows when they think a run's coming. I mean, he called a couple timeouts tonight within like a minute of each other.
Yeah.
Do you guys know it's coming, the big runs?
I don't know if you know a run is coming, but you can kind of sense like a flow to the game. So that's a good coaching on his part. I feel like, in order to know when it's coming, you have to watch a lot of film and understand the way the game is going. So I thought there were smart timeouts too, but at the same time, like we're not really playing for runs. We're just trying to like stack possessions and go from there.
Jalen, all season long, you guys have talked about how you're not aiming to get a lot of turnovers, but whenever you get in a game like this where turnovers are abundant from the other team, what is the constant that you guys are doing that just so happens to generate them?
Playing hard on defense, following a game plan for the most part, and just kind of being there for one another on the defensive end. Like I say, we're not trying to steal the ball. We're just trying to be in the right spot every time and just make it difficult.
Andrew Schlecht with The Athletic. You guys shot 37% in the first half, missed a bunch of layups. Second half, you shot 62% from the field. What changed? What did you guys see differently?
Just stuck with it. That's basketball. Like, you're not ever going to shoot perfect. I think defensive consistency is one thing that we can always do, and we've been really good at that, and that's what we kind of buckled down on, and thought we were able to score a little bit off turnovers and get some easy ones, and from there it was cool. Are my teeth chattering? Like, does it look bad?
No.
Like, I'm freezing. Okay. Yeah. I can hear him.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Dub, a big sort of conversation talking point of this session has been just trusting guys like Jay, Will, Kenrich to come in, and the trust Mark has. What's sort of the process of earning Mark's trust, or is that the default with him?
It's probably like a little bit of both. I think some of it is just seeing how hard we work. He's pretty relatable too. Like, he understands what it's like to be, even though he hasn't played, you kind of got to tip your hat to him because he kind of is able to like put himself in our shoes a little bit and like understand what it's like to maybe like not play or like be in like my position. Like he's really good at just understanding what it's like being a player. And yeah, he gives everybody opportunity to be great, and I think that's why we're able to like play so many guys and so many guys like playing for him.
Yeah, Jalen, it seemed like the Denver series lasted for 2 months. Was it sort of fun to play somebody new, and how different was it? Was it tough to – Mark said it was tough, he thought, on you guys to recalibrate, just the transition from so much of Denver and all of a sudden here's Minnesota.
Yeah, it's always fun to – I think it was more fun to advance. Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, it felt like today felt like kind of like regular season a little bit, just like you finally like play somebody else. That's the most I've ever played a team. Obviously, we played Denver like 4 times during the year too, so it was good to have like a little like change of pace and do that. Obviously, they present their challenges too, so yeah, it was definitely fun to play somebody else. The Denver series did seem like it lasted a very long time.
Anybody else?
Good night.
Isaiah, a massive factor for you guys all season has been winning the battle in the paint, and tonight again, double them up, if not more. I think you hold them to 20 points in the paint. What were some keys that you felt on the defensive end tonight?
I think we did a great job the whole game defensively. I think from the start we were locked in. Again, we played a great team defense the whole game. I think that's always important for how we play. And then the second half, our offense just started going. I think at the beginning we had shots that we always want to take and just didn't make them, missed some layups here and there. And then when our offense kind of caught up to us, that's when we started really taking it to the next level.
Isaiah, Kenrich doesn't play hardly at all in the last 2 series, really hasn't played minutes that mattered since the regular season. For him to come in tonight, what did that do for you guys?
It's huge. I mean, just seeing how he approaches every day. I mean, we see how he stays ready. And also just the mental part. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, you can do so much physically, but to mentally be ready to go, even if you haven't played the last 2 series, really, you have to give him a lot of respect. He was huge for us today. But then also, even when he didn't play, he was always locked in. He was always talking to us during timeouts, on practice days, and so it wasn't like he wasn't locked in. He was always helping us throughout the other series too.
He told me that they've got a group of guys that don't play much that have a game often on game days. What have you seen from those guys? What do those games look like?
A lot of smack talking back and forth. No, I think our coaches do a great job of keeping everyone ready. And so just seeing that on a day-to-day basis, you always have the trust that no matter who's going in, he's going to be ready. He's going to have a big impact. Last series, it was Jay Will who came in. Maybe didn't play that much the series before, but we all knew when he was going to come in, he was going to have a big impact. And so we always trust anyone on the team.
Andrew Schlecht with The Athletic. Kayson's role seems to be just expanding as the playoffs go on, specifically his passing and his lob throwing.
Yeah.
You were on the receiving end of one of those tonight. Can you just tell me about like the chemistry as it's evolved, especially with the lobs?
Yeah, I mean, I came in the locker room today and called him Magic Johnson. So I've never seen him pass like that before, but it's been great. I think he can adjust to any role you give him. I mean, today it was more facilitating. I mean, you're always going to get his defense on a night in, night out basis, but today he was amazing, just passing the ball, getting guys open, and yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah, Mark was in here and said he thought it took you guys a little while to recalibrate from series to series because Minnesota is so different than Denver. Could you tell that was a challenge in the first half that just, hey, we're playing a different kind of game now?
I think offensively, yeah. I think offensively was, I mean, I don't know how much Denver played zone, but it felt like it was almost every second of the game. So I think just coming in, playing man-to-man for the first time kind of in a while, took a bit. I mean, we got shots what we wanted. We missed some layups. And, yeah, I mean, I think that was the biggest thing is that offensively we weren't really making our shots, but defensively we were locked in the whole game. And then when we started making our shots, that's when we kind of got the lead.
One of the things that Mark has said about this team is that everyone sacrifices for this team.
Yeah.
What is it about the brotherhood of you guys that allows you to continue to be so selfless?
I think that we trust one another. I think we know whoever goes in, he's going to play his hardest and do what's best for the team. And again, we want all each other to succeed. It's not like there's no egos involved, and I think that's what makes it really special, that no matter who's in, we're supporting one another. Some nights it's your night, some nights it's someone else's night, and so I think that's just what makes it really special, that there's no egos involved.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Isaiah, Denver threw a lot of zone out at you guys, and I think Soda at some point will do the same. Just want to ask you, how impactful or what makes it special about your game, and particularly your playmaking, just out of those short rolls and specifically that little push shot?
I mean, I think I do a good job of just kind of figuring out what the team needs offensively. If it's more scoring with the floater and just getting people open, or if it's my passing. So I think I've played against different coverages, so I kind of know what spots I want to get to, how I want to get different people open, and I think that's what makes it very helpful, I think.
Hello, sir.
What's up, my guy?
Two questions. One, what was yesterday like? Like, how do you guys prepare and get rest that quickly in one day? Mm-hmm. And then, two, when you came in here with this team so young, like, have you been stunned by the maturity that you've seen, like, all season long to this point?
Yeah. I mean, yesterday we were really just watching film. We didn't really get on the court at all. I think it was just taking care of our bodies, making sure we were right. I mean, I think what makes Mark so special, he trusts a lot of players. So it wasn't like we had 5 guys playing 40 minutes the series before. So I'm not saying we were fully rested, but we were more rested than probably other teams that played a 7-game series. Sorry. Yeah. You want to sit down? You sit down, man. You come sit down. It's my son, Chet.
It's my ugly twin.
But yeah, I think I've seen it from day one how mature everyone is. I think from a day-to-day basis, how people take care of their bodies, how people prepare, you don't see that a lot from guys that are like 22, 23. And I think that's what makes us special, that, yeah, we're young, but I think we're a lot more mature than people know we are.
Chet, what clicked in the fourth quarter for you? They got with, I think, when they hit a big three and looked like they may be making a run, but you answered with one in the corner and you were on the offensive boards later. What kind of clicked for you?
I think I was just playing with more energy. I was out there stinking it up in the first half, and the game's not going to reward you for that. So I just feel like I turned up the intensity, played harder. I was able to find a little more gas in the tank, and then really exert that on the defensive end, and then that opened up stuff for not only myself but the rest of the team on offense.
Any more questions for Hart?
Yeah, just one last one. Joseph Pavone, clutch points. I was actually going to ask you about Chet in the front court, so you kind of helped me out there, Chet. But just overall at the front court, you guys just seemed to really bounce back in that second half. What went into that? What were some of the openings you saw from Minnesota, perhaps, or what was something that maybe perhaps was said at halftime to sort of get you guys going there?
I think we talked at halftime. We had to pick up the intensity. I mean, there was a couple times where we were going under the screen, not really putting the pressure up. And I think that we just want to come out, play more our game, be probably more assertive with our defense. And, I think it worked out really good.
Thanks, Hart.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Isaiah.
Chet, what did you feel out there just in terms of the way that the defense kept you in it in that first half? And I think Dub ends up with 5 steals. You had some massive blocks, and just the way that you guys were able to use that power throughout the night.
Yeah, just understanding that there's 2 sides to the basketball game, and you really, if you want to win it on playing only one side, you got to play really good, and you don't want to bet on that, especially in the playoffs, especially against a good team with good players, good coaches on the other side. So. You really got to try and give yourself a chance on both ends. And when things aren't going on one end, you really got to hunker down on the other, and then trust that that's going to open up stuff for you on offense. So I feel like we did a good job of that in the first half, and then we were able to do even better in the second half. You were the only of kind of the three main centers in this series, you, Hartenstein, and Gobert, who even played in the fourth. Did Game 1 tell you anything about kind of the landscape of this series for centers and how it might look?
No, I'd say every game is going to look completely different. That's just kind of how the game rolled. That's how both coaches saw the game going, and they played what they felt like was going to give them the best chance to win the game on both sides, and thankfully we were able to come away with the win on that one.
Michael Martin, let's talk Thunder. Chet, you've talked a lot about this year about sort of Kenrich and his leadership in the locker room. Can you speak to him tonight of just being ready, and another guy like Jay Will, where they never know when their number is going to be called, but they're always ready?
Man, I watch K show up every single day and put the work in, regardless of situation or what's going on in the games. He shows up and he makes it happen, and I know from myself seeing it. When I see somebody doing that, I know that they're always going to be ready. I know the coaches look at it the same way, and that's why I don't think Mark has any hesitation calling his name when he feels like the occasion calls for it as well. And we saw it tonight. He came in and he was really a spark plug on both ends. Made some big plays, got some big stops right when he came in, and then hit a couple big shots too. So, it's nothing I don't expect from him. I watch how hard he works. I watch what he works on, and none of that is outside of his game.
One of the things that Shai mentioned tonight is that the team didn't panic. From the outside looking in, can you talk about what goes into that, or is it just second nature at this point?
I say a big part of it is having a really good player like Shai that can control the game at times, and then knowing where to be and how to play off of them at times, and then a lot of credit goes to him too for trusting and making the right plays in situations where the other team tries to take him out. And then it's on everybody else to be aggressive when he does make those right plays, and that led to a lot of good things for us tonight.
Yeah, Chet, Randall hurt you guys a lot in the first half, 20 points on great shooting. He only had 5 shots in the second half. What personnel, scheme, what changed in the second half?
I didn't hate the defense that we played in the first half. Good players are going to get some looks, make some good shots. But I feel like as a team, it wasn't just keying in on what he was doing in the second half. I feel like as a team everywhere, all around, we took it up a notch and played a lot better in the second half. And I don't remember the exact number you just gave, but I feel like that's a byproduct of that.
Andrew Schlecht with The Athletic. Chet, what did you guys see in the second half? You shot 62% from the field as a team. In the first half, 37% as a team. What changed?
I would just say the intensity. We really focused on just winning every single possession, winning a defensive possession, and then winning an offensive possession, and then doing it, going back and forth. And I feel like the energy, we had different guys throughout that whole stretch of the second half who made energy plays for us, and that was contagious, and it kind of led to the next guy making the next play. So, we got to keep that going.
Thank you, Chad. We got J-Dub next.
Nick Gallo, OKCThunder.com. Mark, the defense seemed to just keep you in it in the first half, and then you guys were able to continue to turn it up and get the offense going in the second half. What did you feel throughout that first half in terms of the pressure you all were able to put to just keep you in it long enough?
I thought that was the game, for us, to play as poorly as we did offensively in the first half and to be down 4 was a major victory for us at halftime. And the defense was a huge catalyst in that. I thought offensively, it's a very different series. It's a very different team stylistically, and I just thought it took us some time to calibrate that. They're a lot more pressure-oriented on the perimeter. They're a lot more physical on the perimeter. Denver, plays you at a lower pickup and packs it in. Their physicality is different, but this team is really up the floor, pressuring, and really after you. And so I just thought it took us a second to calibrate to the opponent, but our defense allowed us the margin to do that, obviously.
Mark, you and Shai have been in a handful of series now together where he's been, the first option. Like, what have you seen from him as far as the way he processes a game from quarter to quarter up until the point where, maybe it's time for him to sort of close the game?
Yeah, he keeps himself in it. He's got a great emotional temperament. I've always marveled at that about him. He was 2 for 13, I think, at halftime or at one point in the game. And he just keeps himself in it. He doesn't get emotional. He just plays the next play. I thought he was really in attack mode tonight. He did a great job of pounding the paint with the ball. He had a good blend, especially in the second half of his early passes. But, he was really driving it and putting a lot of pressure on them, which is what you have to do against that level of pressure and physicality.
And he said earlier in the year that going into the season that he stopped caring about his efficiency and that it almost made him feel like liberated, I think was the word he used. Do you remember seeing signs of that earlier this year? And I guess what has that meant for him during this playoff run?
Yeah, he's a great player that just stays present. If you're worried about your efficiency, you're worried about the past or the future. And he's, a very present player. He just plays the possession in front of him. He doesn't really change his game. He doesn't change his mindset. I thought that was on full display tonight, and he was huge for us. And I thought him, Chet in the second half, Dub in the second half, there was just a different level that they went to, Caruso, from where they were in the first half. They did a great job in game of kind of turning the table.
Mark, you didn't play Kenrich many meaningful minutes in that Denver series. In fact, I don't think any meaningful minutes. But for him to come in the first half and then the defense he played on Julius in the second half, just what did he bring tonight, and what did you like about the matchup with him out there?
Well, first of all, he hasn't played, significant minutes in a game since the last game of the regular season. It was 5 weeks ago. And the amount of invisible work that it takes to keep yourself that sharp to be able to go in a playoff game like that in the Western Conference Finals and perform the way he did, the invisible work shows up there. That's unbelievable. Consistency, professionalism, mental toughness, all that stuff. And I truly believe that it breathes life into the team when they see a guy not play. He was a huge contributor for us this season, and he didn't play really in the first 2 series, and he just puts his head down every day, keeps himself ready. And then to go in and deliver like that was a huge energy boost for us. Our energy was not where it needed to be in the first whatever amount of that game, and he changed it. And in the second half, he really changed it. So, huge credit to him. It just shows everybody what we already know about him, but that was a big-time performance.
Coach, Mark Spears, ESPN Landscape. One day off after a 7-game series, one day to prepare. This team is rested. Just so many ways for error for you guys. How did you overcome those challenges for a victory?
Yeah, I thought it was great mental toughness, and I thought it started in the first half, like I said, to play that poorly offensively and to not get knocked out was huge. We lost the rounds, but we didn't get knocked out. And I just thought, like I said, we're going from one opponent that plays very different stylistically on both ends of the floor to an opponent that is way more free-flowing on offense and way more physical and pressure-oriented on defense. And I just thought it took us a minute to calibrate to that. And the guys did a great job of just staying in it mentally, long enough for the game to turn for us.
Yeah, the fourth quarter with Chet kind of was a slog early, but fourth quarter I think he had 7 points, he had a 3, he's on the boards offensively. That kind of help you put the game away.
He was big time, and I didn't think he played his best in the first half, like a lot of guys on the team, and he just kept himself in it and really got engaged in the game, and he was part of a huge run there. I thought being able to go to K-Rich the way we did and get him a blow and then come back to him fresh at the end of the third was huge for Chet, and so it just shows the downstream effects of depth. And I thought it helped him tonight, but he was really ready to rock when he went back in there.
It's another game where you guys have more than 30 points off of turnovers. Obviously, that starts at the defensive end, but why do you think you guys are so successful converting turnovers into buckets, and how much has that kind of buy you time or allow you to overcome early muck in the half court?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened tonight. You know, we were mucky in the first half, and our defense was a huge catalyst. And the turnovers are never. That's not what we talk about. You know, we talk about our crowd. You know, we talk. You know, the crowd around the ball, and we talk about being aggressive in our help. You know, trusting our help, trusting our speed, trusting our teammates, and you know, that tends to yield turnovers when we really have that going. But it also yields tough shots and non-rhythm shots, and so that's what we're trying to do. But the guys did a great job of drumming that up really from the jump, and then as we gained energy in the game, it obviously amped up as we went along.
Andrew Schlecht with The Athletic. 27 threes is the lowest amount you took in the regular season in a game. Tonight you took 21. Just thoughts on what led to that?
I mean, we took a lot in the paint tonight. You know, I don't know what the number was, but probably took 50 shots in the paint. You know, so we weren't replacing them with bad shots. I mean, we were on the gas in the paint and aggressive driving the ball. You know, so I liked our blend tonight. I thought the ones we took were good. We missed some pass to the three. We probably could have took more. I thought we missed some passes, especially in the first half. But like I said, it's a new opponent. You know, and you know we're used to playing Denver. You know, like we've been playing Denver for 2 weeks, so. It took us a second to calibrate that, but we got better as the game went along, and now we have to get better as the series goes along.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. Chet obviously had that big stretch to open the fourth. He was the only center. If you like, Hartenstein and Gobert didn't play in the fourth at all. What is your early read on just kind of the landscape for the centers in this series?
It's hard to know. You know, these series shift so quickly. Every game's different. Every team is constantly trying to problem solve and find new ways to gain advantages. They're going to do that. We're going to do that. You know, Gobert's a huge factor in the series, obviously. He's somebody that we have to be aware of on both ends of the floor. And we're going to need all of our guys. You know, all those guys are live, but tonight that's just kind of how the game unfolded. And it's a good weapon for us to be able to downsize like that.
Mark, one of the things you've mentioned about this team is that everyone sacrifices for this team. As you guys continue to get deeper into the postseason, how have you seen that continue to show up?
I mean, Kenrich Williams, Isaiah Joe tonight. You know, like you can't not play. You know the way those guys. You know, Isaiah Joe's minutes got cut last series. K. Rich didn't play. You can't play that little. You know, for a series, 2 weeks. Be that ready to play if you're not in the right frame of mind and not in a team frame of mind. And those guys, to their credit, you know, they're the ultimate professionals and, you know, real leaders in that way, you know, and it breathes a lot of energy into the team and a lot of life into the team. And it's hard not to sacrifice if you're a teammate of those guys and you're watching them do that, you know, and Jay Will just helped us win the Denver series. He didn't play tonight, you know, so it works the other way too. And, you know, he'll keep himself ready and we'll need him probably at some point in this series too.
Yeah, Mark. They've been one of the better teams in the paint in the postseason. Only 20 points tonight when they've been averaging 52 for the postseason. How much of that was a focus for you guys? And then with Julius Randle, you talk about the give and take of defense, and he had it going offensively and from the three-point line in the first half. Second half, not so much because you kind of took that away. And then particularly from the paint, he's been also one of the better guys in the paint in the postseason. Just talk about how you guys were able to take that away also.
Yeah, I mean, he's, first of all, what a half he had. You know, that was impressive, the shot making. The one he made from deep, I was just like, man, this guy is going right now. But I thought we did a good job of amping up our you know, ball pressure on him, understanding that he had it going. I thought the guys adjusted well to that in the game. And with the paint stuff, it just goes back to our help. You know, you gotta trust your help. You know, you gotta be in there. Fortunately for us, we have team speed, so we can be in there and still get out to our guy. And him and Edwards and Reed are guys that if you don't do that, they can really have their way with you. You know, so I thought the guys did a really good job of doing that tonight.
Coach, was that foul on Randall at the end of the half significant? And how did you defend him better and continually through the game? I guess Ant-Man ended up, I think, with 5 field goals. Just wondered your philosophy in defending them.
I thought we did a good job on them. You know, I thought, like I said, it takes guys on the ball and it takes guys in the help. Great players and great offensive players, you can't defend them with one defender. You got to defend them as a team. That's been a strength of us all season. I thought We did that tonight, but this is a really, really good team that's got great resolve. These are great players. They have a great coach tactically, so they're going to have, the next pitch that we're going to have to hit, and, we are aware of that, so we got to get to work. Yep, thanks.